What's up guys, it's Elliot here, and today I'm bringing you a new type of video for Battlefield 1. I'm bringing you a best setups guide. And basically I'm going to be talking through the way I set up the best classes to use the best setups to use for each class, and just why they're good and why I use them and when to use them and stuff. So let's get into it. So firstly, support is my bread and butter. I love support because you can really contest from all ranges. The guns are the best of both worlds between having long range because they're LMGs and shooting really quickly, kind of like an assault gun, which means you can contest. Like when people come in with like an SMG or a shotgun, you can put a lot of bullets on them quickly to wipe them before they can kill you. And from long range, if you actually tap fire and control your bursts, you can really contest with like medics and people from longer range, and you can just like wipe them out. And this ability is what makes support so good, because if you know how to fire and you can get the aim on them in these right situations, you will just wipe everybody, and it's just really good. And obviously that really starts with the bar, and that's the weapon I'm talking about. I prefer the Storm version, and I'll talk about the trench in a little bit. But you need to get to support rank 3 with this, but I'll have a guide talking about what I use to get there. But basically, getting to support rank 3 with this is really just makes everything worth it. The bar is so good. It has the best fire rate of any of the support guns, and you can just wipe from all ranges with this. It's super good at close range, which is one of the reasons I use it as kind of like in my every support class. I'll use it all the time, every map, whatever. But it's just insanely strong. And one of the things I touched on earlier is the fact that you can use support at longer range because you can like burst fire and control. Well, that's why I actually have 2x zoom, the most zoom you can get on this weapon. I actually put that on because, simply put, 2x zoom on this weapon means at long range you can get a clear focus of the target, and you can just burst your way to killing them. Sometimes you'll go full auto and you can get away with it and you can mow them down, especially if they're lying down, but typically bursting is a little bit better. But that's what support's for, putting in a lot of bullets at long range, because you can just keep firing. I'll touch on that in a sec. But anyways, this gun shoots quickly, it has 2x zoom, and at close range it doesn't hinder you, because at close range you'll start by hip firing, which is really good hip spread, and then you'll tighten up with the aim, and you just get a clear focus. And that's why I love this gun. Basically, the clearer the focus you get at any range, you'll just be able to wipe them with bullets. This gun has tons of fire rate, stopping power, and its only weakness is a small magazine, but you still should be able to kill about 2 people if you're good with 1 magazine. But that's the thing that's great. This gun shoots quickly, so you can contest at close range. You can get shotgunners and SMGers, and you can control your fire and then go full auto with 2x zoom, and you can take out medics from longer range. And this gun's just a beast. It's one of the reasons I just love playing support over medic now, and I'll just use it everywhere. But basically, like I was touching on earlier, at long range, the reason you can just open up fire is because you don't have to worry about ammo, because your first really like gadget you'll have to use is simple. You just want to get the ammo crate. Ammo pouch at the beginning works very well too, but essentially you won't run out of ammo, and you'll just be able to just continuously fire, poke at long range, shoot, whatever. I get a lot of assists and suppression assists by just firing, and that's the thing I can't stress enough about this class. Post up somewhere and just keep firing, because its ability to just wipe people is just amazing, and it'll surprise you when you keep firing at people from longer ranges. You will be surprised at the number of kills that you get and how often you'll outgun people. And of course, obviously the downside is people will know where you are, but if they come push you, if you're playing in the right spots and you're like being aware, you'll just mow them down, because even if they have a shotty or SMG, if they don't get that one hit kill with a shotty, or they don't mow you down real quick, you can just equally mow them down just as fast with the bar. So secondly, since I use this specific setup with the bar Storm, I use the mortar, because in larger game modes, the mortar is really good to just rain damage onto points and just see where the enemy are and is moving. I find this really good just when if I die, come back, use the mortar. If I'm at a point that's not highly contested, I'll mortar to where they are being contested, and essential stuff like that. It makes support really good, and it just kind of gives you an idea of where they are and where you need to post up, and it's just a good way to rain extra damage, because support, you can get, with your ammo crate, you can consistently get your ammo back, but you'll also be able to get grenades and replenish your mortar back, and that's really strong. And that's why I like using a lot of offensive weapons, because support is typically more of a defensive class, like post up, keep firing, but being able to use all this offensive stuff means you can do insane damage from all these ranges. So finally, the little addition I had to this, as I said, this is my long-range class. I use it in Rush and Conquest all the time. But I use this for everything, because the bar is such a good weapon. I can use it anywhere, and I'll typically use this exact same class everywhere. But sometimes it's shorter maps. Like if I'm playing Domination, I'm using support, the mortar is a waste. So my first my first thought would simply just be, if I want to switch with this, I would say typically just switch the mortar out for the frag grenade launcher off the crossbow, off the gun, because just getting some extra grenades, which you can obviously replenish with your crate, is insanely good. And if you're going to play a shorter mode, sometimes I would suggest taking the zoom down a little bit. I don't do for this one, because in fact, if I'm going to play a shorter mode, I have another support setup, which I use the bar trench. This one's only at level 2, but I would use this for a shorter mode, a little better hip fire, and I keep it at 2x zoom actually, because I just think it's always helpful, and I can't believe I just said take the zoom down. I always keep the zoom at 2x, because at shorter range you can hip fire a lot better with the trench. But again, if it's your personal preference to like zoom in a lot more, maybe take it down for short range. But again, with the bar trench, or even with the bar storm, you can hip fire a lot better at close range. So I just keep the zoom, and I would hip fire more. But I would definitely make the one swap to the frag grenade launcher, because it's a little bit better for close range maps. And that's actually my second setup. So in my support class setups, I have the storm class I've been talking about, and then the trench, just a little modification for shorter range. And that's basically the best way to use the bar and the best way to roll with support. And if you can do this and you can kind of like use this gun the way I've been talking about it, it just mows people down. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.